Welcome back, everybody. I'm starting to feel like my old self again. This is such a weird beginning. It's such a weird week and beginning to the show. Last week, I did my guest was sick. He was coming back from Vegas, and on Thursday night, he was like, "I'm sick, man," and I was like, "Dude, stay home." And so I did. I went into the station and did the show alone, like sitting at the desk alone for the first time, and we were taking callers. And oh, by the way, you can call in. The number once again, I can't remember. I'll find it in a few minutes. But it was just such an odd feeling. And you know, just everything else, it keeps just changing and spiraling. And good thing I do jujitsu, because we always talk about this thing called the jujitsu spiral, where you never finish, you never win and you never lose. You just keep going and going. And that's what this feels like. But yeah, I had absolutely no humor at the beginning of the show. And now I feel like my goofy ass old self. So once again, you're listening to Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox, here with my guest, Sylvie Bertrand. The number is 212-721-8183. Call in, ask us questions, give us your testimonials, give us a hard time. So like every day is kind of like this for me since Tuesday, where I wake up in the morning just with knots in my stomach. And I'm just like, what the fuck? What are we going to do?
You've been sleeping, actually? Been sleeping?
Up and down, off and on. I mean, last night was good and the night before, but I almost out of like pure exhaustion. So yesterday, I was at the wine store early in the morning doing reports and packing up cases. People are texting me, hey, can you get me a case? Because it's like the store is really busy. Stuff's getting plucked off the shelves before it even lands. People are opening boxes on the floor and ripping stuff out of it. But there's older people in the neighborhood who are afraid to come in, which they, is totally legit. And to be honest, like, I'm not upset at all that we were asked to close to the public. Like, none of this is, as far as a health concern, is bothering me.
Right.
My utmost priority is people, So people, I've had a few older people that I know very well who are my neighbors. Like, I'm trying to work this out, but they're busy in there. They can't take my phone call. So I'm in there like packing cases up. Then I had to go to the food co-op in the afternoon. We got a delivery there. Same thing. We're trying to get stuff on the shelves and people are pulling it off as soon as we get it up. And then I was at the restaurant from 4:30 to 9:30 and then back to the wine store to close it up. So by the end of the night, like last night, I was just shot. And I actually slept last night. But I've been waking up just with this sense of like, I have no fucking idea what to do. But as I get out and I see people and I see commerce and I see signs of life and normalcy, then I feel better. Like by the end of the night, I go to bed kind of easy because it's like, okay, we're not all dead,
Right.
and people are still, and then it's also, the conversations I'm having with people in the street. And you were saying it earlier, how the local support has been super, it's almost like overwhelming, right? There's been a couple of times where I like wanted to tear up, where I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like I didn't know you felt this way,
Right. No, that's very helpful because you need to have that for sure. You know the sense that it did matter and you still matter.
Yeah.
But to speak to the health, I mean, also, and I want us to be able to do what we're doing, right? And, so that's why we set this system where people cannot enter. And I felt bad. Like yesterday, I was trying to make sure that no two people would come at the same time into our lobby, and start to find myself in the police role almost. Like, no, you wait outside. You come in. What's your order? Okay, here's your food. We
had to do that at the food co-op where we were only letting 5 people, workers included, in at a time. So most of the time it left only 2 people shopping, and everybody had to wait outside. And I mean, that's a member-owned store. So people, like, they kind of get it, but you could sense people were getting frustrated. But like, you go into the grocery stores and there's like 150 people crowded in the stores here. Yeah. It's not like, the suburbs where there are these massive stores. There's like tons of people in there. But yeah, at Della, nobody's even interested in really coming in. Like I've been propping the door open. I've seen you guys had your door open too. I just leave the door open. and like, it's great because we get fresh air, which is really important.
Oh, it's good because nobody's using the handle too, right?
Yeah, exactly that. And thank God it's like finally starting to show signs of spring. I mean, it's supposed to be 70 later today, so we can do that and be comfortable and not freeze our asses off. But most people are like, they just stay like outside. I've been trying to take a lot of payments over the phone, so they don't even have to come in and give me their card, and just really trying to reduce the reduce the friction and the interaction. But like, people are like, I'm just going to wait out here. And I like come out and set the bags on the sidewalk. It's like, the worst case before was like, oh, don't put your bag on the subway floor. And like, now you were like, it's fine. You can put it on the ground. It's not a problem.
Doesn't matter. Don't touch it. It's going to be interesting to see how we're all going to adapt to what we have to do,
Yeah. And you said something else a moment ago where you were talking about how when people tell you, how they feel about your business and about your involvement in the community that you hadn't quite heard before, especially from that person. Like, there's those people that, they're like your people, and you're like, of course. But when other people are coming up and saying it now, like people I didn't really have a connection with, that's giving me so much more confidence and making me feel better at the end of the day to get up and do it again. And, I was saying at the beginning, like, we have to have that confidence. We have to have that thick skin, because we often travel these paths that are not traveled and not well lit. And if you're getting morally defeated, I think that's the beginning of your decline, is when it hits the mental. Like our bodies will often adapt and work it out, and we modify. But if you kill the morale, well, what's going to be left? So we need those reminders daily, like.
To keep going in small ways is helping the morale, right? And the normalcy, even if it's a whole different type of normalcy.
Yeah. I don't think that's going away.
So that helps, because I was way more flipped out Monday. Monday is the day they shut down in on-premise eating at 8:00, right? We all had to close. And that was, to me, like such a unimaginable thing to prepare for. Like, I'm going to shut down, and I don't know for how long. I mean, we flip out when we close for Thanksgiving Day.
Right. I know exactly.
We know everything that comes the same day every year, and we're always like, oh my God, this is the week we're going to close one day. We're going to make way less money and struggle the week after.
Yeah, of course.
So I was so anxious about it, and now, I mean, I was even thinking, I'm just going to close down and get out. Leave somewhere, and I may still do this. We'll see. But for now, having to do this has actually been helpful in creating this sense of like. You keep going, and to temper the panic, I guess.
Yeah.
But you don't want to veer too much into being complacent either, right? So it's the right balance between the two, where you're not panicking, but you're also aware of the real numbers and facts. And
honestly, I like being out in it and seeing it head on. I mean, you and I, like I was saying yesterday, I mean, there are days where I'm in contact with a couple hundred people every day. It's not, I'm not like incubated in my house. I'm out like in multiple businesses,
of course.
Exchanging cash. I mean, my hands are, when I used to cook, my hands would always be dry from being in the bleach and washing my hands all the time. But I haven't lived that life for a while. My hands hurt so bad. I put lotion on at night. I'm like, I remember this. And another thing, it's just pulling all my resources. Like I was telling a couple of people yesterday, I worked for this guy. Have you done like primarily takeout operations before? Or is this?
No, I always have done like way more like a bar, restaurant, eating in, taking care of like, hosting,
Yeah. I mean, I ran some places when I was young that did like 50-50, where like it was a busy dining room, but the takeout was such a huge component of the business. And I managed the dining room, but I also at times managed the takeout. But I was like 19 years old, and haven't done it since then. And I remember the guy I worked for then, because he opened a bunch of locations. We're still really good friends. And I used to bitch and moan about it back then. And he would say to me one day, this is going to help you out. I know you don't love this right now. And I was like, that was like 25 years ago. And last night I was like, oh my God, I want to give that guy a hug right now. I can't because of social distancing, but it was so true. It's just like making me, pull up memories and skills that I had long since kind of put aside. just to clip another day, you know, just to turn the key like one more day.
You have to create a whole new system for it, right? I was here with Gregory. We're both together because we've been doing it ourselves because we can't afford to have anybody else. So we have 2 cooks.
Forget about money right now, right?
I mean, money is just about just not losing too much money, so that when we come on the other side of it, it's easier to be there, right? And we're both doing it, and we were both like, we had no system, and it was just like people's, you know, it was kind of funny, but also very stressful to deal with this whole new way of doing business.
Right now I'm doing it alone. I've got my 2 cooks here. And, you know, one of them is always available to just run a delivery right here. If it's just super local, I can just send them out. But I mean, for the last 2 nights, I've been answering the phones. We actually made it. I've been making like 25 drinks a night. So I'm answering the phones. I'm bagging everything up. I am the system, and I'm bartending. And then people are like walking by and wanting to talk, like, hey, what's up? And I'm just like, hi, how are you? You know, like, I got so much going on. I mean, I love that kind of cacophony anyways, but again, it goes back to like all the different things that I've had to do in the industry, you know, that I hated at the time, but it tested me in a way that now it's like, okay, I can do that and continue to be like the owner and, you know, deal with that stuff. But for us, we're really just, you know, trying to leave a little bit of money in the bank for when this is all done, because we have to, you know, if we're going to open back up, it's not free. First day is not free, right? You got to put all that cash up front. But to take care of the guys that, I mean, my two main, my chef and my sous chef, they've been with us since day 0, you know, and they don't have a backup, you know, they don't have anything else to go to. And they're like they're my fire right now. They're my motivation. And they, you know, both of them grew up in really, really dire circumstances. So for them, are like, oh, this is nothing. And I'm just like, God, I love your just enthusiasm. Cause I'm like fighting to, you know, I'm like talking myself off the bridge basically every morning. Cause it would be.
What's something else that we have to take, you know, as small business owner, we have, you know, some employees that really depend on that business.
Absolutely.
For the, you know, as we are going, you know, we live paycheck to paycheck as owners, you know, and for small business, that really is the truth. It's of course even more so for everybody who works, you know, in the kitchen. And these guys are, you know, are going to really struggle. I mean, that's why I'm so worried about that industry. I want that industry to survive, is that I know so many people who depends on it. I mean, they're amazing at it too. You know, that's their skill. Their skill, chef and cooks and dishwasher. It doesn't matter. I mean, they're really good at it.
Yeah.
And you want those business to be around and to stick around, or to be around on the other side if we have to all shut down, so that they can, you know.
All right, we're going to take one more short break. We'll be back in a few. Thanks for listening, everybody.
All right.